Hey, curious minds, get ready for mind-blowing facts about animals, science, and more. From surprising talents to bizarre discoveries, this video is packed with fun you won't believe. Sit back, relax, and let's dive into the unexpected.
The human circulatory system is an intricate and vast network of blood vessels, including arteries, veins, and capillaries. If stretched out end to end, these vessels would span approximately 100,000 miles, enough to wrap around the Earth about 4 times. This extensive system is responsible for transporting oxygen, nutrients, hormones and waste products throughout the body, ensuring that every cell receives what it needs to function properly. Arteries carry oxygen-rich blood from the heart to various organs and tissues, while veins return oxygen-depleted blood back to the heart for reoxygenation. Capillaries, the tiniest blood vessels, connect arteries and veins, allowing for the exchange of oxygen, carbon dioxide and other substances at the cellular level. Despite their combined length, blood vessels are incredibly thin and delicate, with some capillaries being just 1 cell thick. The vastness of the circulatory system highlights the complexity of the human body. The heart, which powers this network, pumps roughly 2,000 gallons of blood daily, ensuring continuous circulation. As we age, blood vessels can become less elastic due to factors such as poor diet, lack of exercise, and genetic predisposition, potentially leading to cardiovascular diseases. Maintaining a healthy lifestyle, including proper nutrition, hydration, and regular exercise, helps keep this extensive system functioning efficiently. This incredible network of blood vessels underscores just how remarkable and efficient the human body is, seamlessly working around the clock to sustain life.
Saliva plays a crucial role in the human body, aiding digestion, protecting teeth, and keeping the mouth moist. Over the course of a lifetime, the average person produces an astonishing amount, enough to fill 2 entire swimming pools. This may seem unbelievable, but the human body generates between half a litre to 1.5 litres of saliva per day. Over an average lifespan of around 70 years, this adds up to between 26,000 and 55,000 litres, which is roughly equivalent to the volume of 2 standard-sized swimming pools. Saliva is primarily composed of water, about 99%, but it also contains enzymes, proteins, electrolytes, and antibacterial compounds. One of its most important enzymes, amylase, begins the process of breaking down starches into simpler sugars before food even reaches the stomach. Saliva also plays a key role in maintaining oral health by neutralizing acids, washing away food particles, and providing antimicrobial protection against harmful bacteria that cause cavities and gum disease. Beyond digestion and oral hygiene, saliva contributes to speech by keeping the mouth lubricated, preventing dryness that can make it difficult to form words properly. It also contains growth factors that promote wound healing in the mouth, which is why oral injuries tend to heal faster than cuts on other parts of the body. While saliva production is essential, it can vary depending on hydration levels, diet, medications, and health conditions. Some people experience excessive saliva production, while others suffer from dry mouth, also known as xerostomia, which can lead to discomfort and increased risk of dental problems. Staying hydrated and maintaining good oral hygiene helps ensure that saliva continues to perform its vital functions efficiently throughout a lifetime.
Goosebumps are a fascinating physiological response that humans have inherited from their animal ancestors. Scientifically known as piloerection, this reflex occurs when tiny muscles at the base of hair follicles, called erector pili, contract in response to cold temperatures or strong emotions like fear or excitement. This reaction causes body hair to stand upright, forming the characteristic bumpy texture on the skin. While this response is mostly useless for modern humans, it once played a crucial role in survival. For our ancestors, who had much more body hair, this reflex served 2 important purposes. First, when exposed to cold, raised hairs would trap more air close to the skin, creating an insulating layer to retain body heat. This helped early humans and other mammals stay warm in harsh conditions. Second, in moments of fear or confrontation, raised hair made an animal appear larger and more intimidating to potential threats, much like how a cat's fur stands on end when it feels threatened. Though humans have lost most of their body hair over time, the neural pathways that control goosebumps remain. Today, this reflex is triggered not only by cold, but also by intense emotions, such as listening to powerful music, experiencing nostalgia, or feeling extreme excitement or fear. This happens because the reaction is controlled by the sympathetic nervous system, which is also responsible for the fight-or-flight response. While goosebumps no longer serve a significant functional purpose in modern humans of our evolutionary past, scientists continue to study this reflex, and some research suggests that it may still play a minor role in regulating skin health by triggering hair follicle stem cells, potential regeneration.
The human brain is an incredibly complex organ that relies on a constant supply of oxygen to function properly. When oxygen flow is interrupted, brain cells begin to die rapidly. On average, the brain can survive only 5 to 10 minutes without oxygen before significant, often irreversible, damage occurs. This condition, known as cerebral hypoxia, can lead to severe cognitive and physical impairments, coma, or even death if oxygen deprivation is prolonged. Within the first 60 seconds of oxygen deprivation, brain cells begin to struggle as they rely on stored energy to keep functioning. However, without fresh oxygen, the brain quickly depletes its energy reserves. By 3 minutes, neurons start to die, and permanent brain damage becomes a real risk. At 5 minutes, severe damage is almost certain, especially in areas responsible for memory, reasoning, and motor function. Beyond 10 minutes, survival becomes unlikely without medical intervention, and even if a person is revived, they may suffer from long-term impairments due to widespread brain cell death. Despite these risks, certain factors can influence how long the brain can withstand oxygen deprivation. For example, lower temperatures slow down metabolic processes, which is why some drowning victims in icy water have been revived after much longer periods without oxygen. Medical procedures, such as therapeutic hypothermia, where a patient's body temperature is deliberately lowered, can sometimes extend the survival window by reducing the brain's oxygen demand. Understanding the brain's vulnerability to oxygen deprivation is crucial in medical emergencies such as strokes, heart attacks, or near drownings. Immediate action, like performing CPR or using a defibrillator, can help restore oxygen flow before permanent brain damage occurs. This highlights the importance of quick medical intervention when dealing with any situation that restricts oxygen supply to the brain.
Your pinky finger, despite being the smallest digit on your hand, plays a surprisingly crucial role in hand strength. It is responsible for approximately 50% of your hand's grip strength, making it far more important than most people realize. While the thumb is essential for dexterity and precision, the pinky acts as a stabilizer, providing power and control when gripping objects, making fists, or performing fine motor tasks. The pinky's strength comes from its connection to the ulnar side of the hand, which is supported by the ulnar nerve and forearm muscles. When you grip something, the pinky and ring finger work together to create a strong foundation, allowing the thumb and index finger to manipulate objects with precision. This is why athletes, musicians, and manual laborers rely heavily on their pinky fingers for power and endurance. Rock climbers, for example, depend on their pinky fingers to maintain grip strength when hanging from ledges, while pianists and guitarists use them to execute complex movements. If the pinky were injured or lost, a person would experience a significant reduction in grip strength. Studies have shown that removing the pinky can cut hand strength in half, while losing the index or middle finger results in far less impact. This is why injuries to the pinky, such as fractures or nerve damage, can severely affect a person's ability to grip, lift and hold objects. The next time you use your hands for everyday tasks, take a moment to appreciate your pinky finger. It may seem small and insignificant, but without it, your hand's strength and functionality would be dramatically weakened.
Humans continuously shed their skin, releasing about 600,000 tiny skin particles every hour. This means that over the course of a single day, a person can shed nearly 1.5 pounds, or 0.7 kilograms, of dead skin cells. The process is completely natural and essential for skin renewal, helping to remove old damaged cells and replace them with fresh, healthy ones. The The outermost layer of skin, known as the epidermis, constantly regenerates itself. Skin cells, or keratinocytes, are produced in the deeper layers of the epidermis and gradually move toward the surface. Once they reach the top, they die and flake off, making room for new cells. This cycle occurs approximately every 28 to 40 days, meaning that you essentially get a new outer layer of skin every month. These microscopic flakes of skin don't just disappear, they accumulate in your surroundings. A significant portion of household dust is actually made up of dead skin cells. While this might sound unappealing, it plays an unexpected role in nature. The shed skin provides food for dust mites, tiny organisms that thrive in bedding, carpets, and upholstery. Additionally, these skin particles contribute to the Earth's atmosphere, making up part of the biological material floating in the air. The amount of skin a person sheds can vary based on factors like age, skin type, and environment. Dry skin conditions, sun exposure, and frequent washing can increase shedding, while moisturized and healthy skin may lose fewer cells. Although this process is invisible to the naked eye, it's a constant part of being human, ensuring our skin stays fresh, healthy, and resilient throughout our lives.
The human liver is one of the most remarkable organs in the body, possessing a unique ability to regenerate itself even after losing up to 75% of its mass. Unlike most organs, which heal through scar tissue formation, the liver can actually regrow to its original size and function without permanent loss of ability. This extraordinary trait makes liver transplants and partial liver donations possible, as a healthy portion of a liver can regenerate in both the donor and recipient. Liver regeneration is driven by hepatocytes, the main type of liver cell. When a significant part of the liver is removed or damaged, these cells quickly multiply to restore lost tissue. Within a week or two, the liver can regain much of its original mass, and over the course of several months, it typically returns to full function. However, while the liver can regrow to its original size, it may not always return to its exact original shape. This is why transplanted liver sections may look slightly different after regeneration. This regenerative power has been known for centuries, even appearing in Greek mythology. The tale of Prometheus, who was punished by the gods by having his liver eaten daily by an eagle, only for it to regrow overnight, was an early recognition of this liver property. Despite its ability to regrow, the liver is not invincible. Chronic liver diseases such as cirrhosis and hepatitis can cause long-term damage and prevent proper regeneration. Excessive alcohol consumption, fatty liver disease, and exposure to toxins can lead to scar tissue formation, fibrosis, which ultimately reduces the liver's ability to heal itself. Maintaining a healthy lifestyle, including a balanced diet, moderate alcohol consumption, and avoiding harmful chemicals, ensures that this vital organ continues to function optimally. The liver's regeneration ability makes it a crucial focus for medical research. Scientists are exploring ways to enhance this natural healing process to treat liver diseases more effectively. Some studies are even looking into bioengineered livers and regenerative medicine to help patients with severe liver damage. This extraordinary organ remains one of the most fascinating and resilient parts of the human body, capable of self-repairing in ways that few other organs can.
Babies are born with more bones than adults, approximately 300 compared to an adult's 206. This fascinating fact is due to the way the human skeleton develops over time. Many of a newborn's bones are made of cartilage, a flexible and softer tissue that allows for easier movement during birth and rapid growth in early life. As the child grows, these cartilage structures gradually ossify or turn into solid bone through a process called endochondral ossification. One of the main reasons babies have extra bones is that some larger adult bones start out as multiple smaller bones that later fuse together. A great example of this is the skull. At birth, a baby's skull is made up of several separate bones connected by soft gaps called fontanelles. These flexible gaps allow the skull to shift slightly during childbirth, making delivery easier and accommodating rapid brain growth in infancy. Over time, the skull bones gradually fuse, forming the solid structure found in adults. Another area where bone fusion occurs is the spine. Babies are born with 33 vertebrae, but some of these vertebrae eventually merge, particularly in the sacrum and coccyx or tailbone, reducing the total count in adulthood. Similarly, the hip bones start as 3 separate bones, the ilium, ischium, and pubis, but fuse together during adolescence to form a single strong structure. This natural bone fusion process is essential for creating a stronger and more rigid skeleton that can support walking, running, and other adult movements. While infants need more flexibility for growth and early development, adults require sturdier, fully formed bones for stability and protection. Understanding how bones change from birth to adulthood is not just a fascinating biological fact. It also plays an important role in pediatrics and orthopedics. Medical professionals carefully monitor infant bone development to ensure proper growth and identify any potential issues early on. This is why babies are sometimes checked for conditions like hip dysplasia, where improper bone development can lead to future mobility problems. In essence, the extra bones in babies are not extra in the sense that they remain separate forever. Rather, they represent an early-stage blueprint of the adult skeleton, evolving through fusion as the body matures. This remarkable transformation highlights the human body's ability to adapt, grow, and strengthen over time.
Your stomach has to produce a new layer of mucus every 2 weeks to protect itself from its own acid. This is because the stomach contains hydrochloric acid, also known as HCl, a powerful substance with a pH of around 1.5 to 3.5, which is strong enough to break down food and potentially digest the stomach itself if left unchecked. To prevent this from happening, the stomach relies on a protective mucus layer, which is continuously replenished. The stomach plays a crucial role in digestion, breaking down food into nutrients that the body can absorb. This process is aided by gastric acid, which helps dissolve food, kill harmful bacteria, and activate digestive enzymes like pepsin, which breaks down proteins. However, because hydrochloric acid is so corrosive, the stomach must have a way to protect its own tissues from being damaged. The stomach lining is covered in a thick layer of mucus, primarily made of mucin, a glycoprotein that forms a gel-like barrier. This mucus traps bicarbonate ions, which help neutralize the acid near the stomach lining, creating a pH gradient with an extremely acidic environment inside the stomach, but a much more neutral layer right against the stomach wall. Because stomach acid is constantly breaking down food and mixing with mucus, the mucus layer wears away over time. To maintain its protective function, specialized cells in the stomach lining, called mucus neck cells and surface epithelial cells, continuously secrete fresh mucus. This ensures that the stomach lining remains safe. This regeneration process occurs roughly every 2 weeks, though in some cases it can happen even faster. If the stomach fails to produce enough mucus, the acid can begin to damage the epithelial cells of the stomach lining, leading to irritation, inflammation, or even ulcers. Stomach ulcers, also known as peptic ulcers, can develop when this protective barrier is compromised, often due to factors like H. pylori bacteria. These bacteria can weaken the mucus layer, making the stomach lining more vulnerable to acid damage. Long-term use of NSAIDs, or non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, medications like aspirin or ibuprofen can inhibit mucus production, increasing the risk of ulcers. Excessive alcohol consumption. Alcohol can erode the stomach lining and reduce mucus production. Stress and spicy foods, while these don't directly cause ulcers, they can aggravate existing stomach issues. The ability of the stomach to continuously renew its mucus barrier is an amazing example of how the body protects itself. This self-repair system ensures that despite constantly dealing with corrosive acid, the stomach remains healthy and functional. Without this ongoing process, the stomach would essentially begin digesting itself, leading to severe damage and pain. This is why maintaining a balanced diet, avoiding excessive use of NSAIDs, and managing stress can all contribute to a healthier stomach lining and better digestion overall.
The surface area of your lungs is roughly the size of a tennis court. The human lungs are remarkable organs designed for efficient gas exchange, allowing the body to absorb oxygen and expel carbon dioxide. Despite being compactly housed within the chest, their internal surface area is approximately 70 square meters, roughly the size of a tennis court. This vast surface area is crucial for maximizing oxygen absorption, supporting the body's energy needs. Why do lungs need such a large surface area? Gas exchange occurs in the lungs at the level of the alveoli, which are tiny air sacs that resemble clusters of grapes. There are about 300 to 600 million alveoli in an adult's lungs, and their thin, flexible walls allow oxygen to diffuse into the bloodstream while removing carbon dioxide. The large surface area ensures that oxygen intake is highly efficient, even during physical exertion, when the body's oxygen demand increases. The reason for this immense surface area is simple physics. The more surface available, the more gas can be exchanged at once. This allows the lungs to process about 11,000 litres, or 388 cubic feet, of air per day under normal conditions. Without such a high surface area, humans would struggle to take in enough oxygen to support cellular metabolism. The lungs are structured in a way that maximizes surface area while remaining compact. This is achieved by branching airways. The trachea splits into two bronchi, which further divide into bronchioles before leading to the alveoli. This branching pattern increases surface area without requiring excessive space. Thin alveolar walls. The alveoli are lined with a single layer of epithelial cells, making it easier for gases to diffuse efficiently. Surfactant production. A special substance called pulmonary surfactant prevents alveoli from collapsing, maintaining their ability to expand and exchange gases. What happens when lung surface area is reduced? Certain lung diseases can damage alveoli or reduce their function, leading to decreased surface area and impaired breathing. For example, emphysema, a type of COPD, destroys alveolar walls, reducing surface area and making it harder to absorb oxygen. Pulmonary fibrosis thickens lung tissue, making oxygen diffusion more difficult. Smoking and pollution can damage alveoli over time, leading to reduced lung capacity. The fact that our lungs have a surface area equivalent to a tennis court is a testament to their efficiency and complexity. This vast area ensures that our bodies receive enough oxygen to sustain life while removing waste gases. Protecting lung health through regular exercise, avoiding smoking, and minimizing exposure to air pollutants can help maintain their function and keep this incredible respiratory system working at its best.
Valles Marineris is the largest canyon system in the entire solar system, and it's an awe-inspiring example of the dramatic geological features that exist beyond Earth. Located near the Martian equator, this colossal canyon stretches for about 2,500 miles. That's over 10 times longer than Earth's Grand Canyon, which spans roughly 277 miles. In fact, if Valles Marineris were on Earth, it would stretch all the way across the United States from coast to coast. Its depths reach up to 7 miles in some areas, making it not just long but incredibly deep, about 4 times deeper than the Grand Canyon. The origin of Valles Marineris remains a subject of ongoing study, but scientists believe it was likely formed by tectonic activity, the stretching and cracking of Mars' crust as the planet cooled. This process may have been intensified by the nearby Tharsis volcanic region, a vast bulge on the Martian surface home to Olympus Mons, the largest volcano in the solar system. As volcanic forces pushed up the crust, it may have caused the land to split and collapse, creating the vast trench system we see today. What makes Valles Marineris even more fascinating is the complexity of its landscape. It's not just one canyon, but a network of interconnected valleys, cliffs and channels, some of which show evidence of past water flow. This has made the region an area of interest in the search for past Martian life, as water is a key ingredient for life as we know it. Over the years, spacecraft like NASA's Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter have sent back stunning images of the canyon's jagged cliffs and layered sediments, revealing a history written in stone that spans billions of years. In short, Valles Marineris is one of the most breathtaking and scientifically intriguing landmarks on Mars, a reminder that even though Mars may seem like a barren desert world, it's home to some of the most extreme and mysterious landscapes in our solar system.
One of the oldest and simplest pieces of evidence that the Earth is round comes from something people have observed for thousands of years: the curved shadow Earth casts on the Moon during a lunar eclipse. A lunar eclipse occurs when the Earth moves directly between the Sun and the Moon, blocking sunlight and casting a shadow on the Moon's surface. During this event, the shadow that slowly creeps across the Moon is always curved, a consistent arc that reveals the shape of the object casting it. The Greek philosopher Aristotle was one of the earliest thinkers to use this observation as proof of Earth's roundness around 350 BCE. He noted that the shadow Earth casts during an eclipse is round regardless of the moon's position in the sky or the time of year. If Earth were flat, its shadow would not consistently appear circular. It might be elongated, oval, or even a straight line depending on the angle. But since only a spherical object always casts a round shadow, this was strong evidence, even in ancient times, that the Earth is a sphere. Lunar eclipses also helped early astronomers understand Earth's size and orientation in space. By carefully measuring the shadow's movement across the moon, scientists were able to estimate Earth's diameter long before the invention of telescopes or satellites. These early measurements weren't perfect, but they were surprisingly close, showing just how powerful simple observations can be. Today we have countless ways to confirm Earth's shape, from satellite imagery to circumnavigation, but the lunar eclipse remains one of the most elegant and accessible demonstrations. Anyone on the night side of Earth can witness this natural event with the naked eye and see firsthand a beautiful and ancient truth. Our planet is not flat, it's a sphere, silently tracing its shadow across the sky.
The Moon, Earth's only natural satellite, is slowly but steadily drifting away from our planet at a rate of about 1.5 inches or 3.8 centimeters per year. While this might not sound like much, it's a fascinating and important phenomenon that reveals a lot about the intricate gravitational relationship between Earth and the Moon. This movement is caused by tidal forces, the same forces responsible for the rising and falling of Earth's oceans. Here's how it works. The gravitational pull of the Moon creates bulges in Earth's oceans, leading to tides. However, because Earth rotates faster than the Moon orbits, these tidal bulges are always slightly ahead of the Moon in its orbit. The gravitational interaction between these bulges and the Moon acts like a kind of tug, pulling the Moon forward in its orbit. As a result, the Moon gains energy and gradually moves into a higher orbit, in other words, farther from Earth. At the same time, Earth is giving up some of its rotational energy to the Moon. This means that as the Moon moves away, Earth's rotation is very slowly slowing down, causing our days to get longer by about 2 milliseconds per century. Billions of years ago, days were much shorter, and the Moon appeared larger in the sky because it was closer. In the distant future, this process may lead to what's called tidal locking, where Earth's rotation slows enough to match the Moon's orbital period, possibly resulting in both always showing the same face to each other. However, that would take billions more years, long after humans are likely around to see it. Scientists have been able to measure the Moon's slow retreat with incredible precision using laser reflectors left on the lunar surface during the Apollo missions. By bouncing lasers off these reflectors, researchers can measure the Earth-Moon distance down to the millimeter. This ongoing shift is not only a testament to the dynamism of our Earth-Moon system, but also a great example of how ancient cosmic forces continue to shape our world even today.
Venus is a fascinating and extreme world, and despite being the second planet from the Sun, it is the hottest in the solar system, a fact that often surprises people. You'd think Mercury, being closest to the Sun, would be the hottest, but Mercury lacks a significant atmosphere, while Venus is enveloped in a thick, toxic blanket of gases that completely changes the game. Venus's atmosphere is composed of about 96% carbon dioxide, along with clouds of sulfuric acid, making it both chemically harsh and extremely effective at trapping heat. This thick atmospheric layer acts like a thermal blanket, causing what's known as a runaway greenhouse effect. Here's how it works. Sunlight passes through Venus's clouds and heats the surface. The hot surface then radiates this energy as infrared heat. On Earth, much of this infrared radiation escapes back into space, but Venus's dense atmosphere traps it. The carbon dioxide molecules absorb and re-emit this heat over and over, preventing it from escaping and causing the planet's temperature to climb and stay at an average of around 900 degrees Fahrenheit, or 475 degrees Celsius. That's hot enough to melt lead and even hotter than some surfaces on Mercury during the day. And unlike Mercury, which has extreme temperature swings between day and night because it can't hold heat without an atmosphere, Venus's heat is evenly distributed, so both its day and night sides remain blisteringly hot. Adding to its intensity, Venus's atmosphere is over 90 times the pressure of Earth's, meaning that if you stood on its surface, assuming you could survive the heat and the toxic air, the pressure would feel like being nearly a kilometre underwater on Earth. The thick cloud layers also make direct observation of the surface from space nearly impossible with visible light, which is why scientists have used radar mapping such as from the Magellan spacecraft to peer through the clouds and study the terrain. Interestingly, scientists believe Venus may have once had Earth-like conditions with liquid water on its surface billions of years ago. But a combination of volcanic activity, solar radiation, and the buildup of greenhouse gases likely led to the extreme conditions we see today. Venus serves as a stark reminder of how delicate planetary climates can be, and it's often studied as a cautionary example of climate change taken to the extreme. So, while Venus may look serene and beautiful in the sky as the evening star, it's an unforgiving hellscape below the clouds. A world where heat is inescapable, pressure is crushing, and the atmosphere is a deadly chemical soup.
Welcome to the mesmerizing world of Titan, Saturn's largest moon. Known for its unique and intriguing features, Titan offers a glimpse into a realm that feels almost otherworldly. Saturn's largest moon, Titan, is one of the most fascinating worlds in the solar system, and not just because it looks like a sci-fi landscape. One of the most mind-blowing facts about Titan is that it contains more oil and natural gas than all of Earth's known reserves combined. But unlike Earth, where hydrocarbons are buried underground and formed over millions of years from organic matter, Titan's version of oil, liquid methane and ethane, exists naturally on its surface and in its atmosphere, forming entire lakes, rivers and even rain systems. Discovered in detail by NASA's Cassini-Huygens mission, Titan is the only other body in the solar system known to have stable liquids on its surface, though they aren't water. Instead, temperatures on Titan hover around a frigid -290 degrees Fahrenheit, cold enough for methane and ethane, which are gases on Earth, to exist as liquids. These hydrocarbons fill massive lakes and seas, particularly near the Moon's polar regions. The largest of these, Kraken Mare, is roughly the size of the Caspian Sea and could be hundreds of feet deep. Scientists estimate that the total volume of hydrocarbons on Titan, both on the surface and potentially underground, exceeds Earth's oil and natural gas reserves by hundreds of times. Titan's thick atmosphere, rich in nitrogen and methane, raises intriguing possibilities about the potential for life. While the surface is too cold for liquid water, scientists speculate that subsurface oceans of water mixed with ammonia could exist, providing a potentially habitable environment. The presence of complex organic molecules adds another layer of mystery, suggesting that Titan could be a key place to study prebiotic chemistry and the conditions that might foster life. The atmosphere of Titan, which is thicker than Earth's, is also rich in organic compounds. It's mostly nitrogen, like Earth's, but it contains significant amounts of methane and other complex hydrocarbons that contribute to its thick orange haze. These organic chemicals fall like snow and accumulate on the surface, forming what some scientists call organic sand dunes. This abundance of carbon-based compounds makes Titan one of the most chemically rich environments outside Earth and a prime candidate in the search for prebiotic chemistry or even primitive life. However, extracting or using Titan's hydrocarbon resources is purely hypothetical at this point. The extreme cold and its great distance from Earth, about 746 million miles or 1.2 billion kilometers away, make it wildly impractical with today's technology. But Titan offers an invaluable glimpse into what an alien Earth-like world might look like, complete with weather, seasons, and even methane rainstorms. It's not only a treasure trove of natural resources, but a place that challenges and expands our understanding of planetary science and the potential for life in the cosmos.
A groundbreaking new space mission by the European Space Agency is set to launch in April 2025 with the goal of revolutionizing how we monitor Earth's forests. Known as the Biomass Mission, this project will deploy a satellite designed to map and analyze the carbon content of the world's most remote tropical forests. These forests play a vital role in regulating the planet's climate, acting as massive carbon sinks that absorb about 8 billion tons of CO2 each year. However, current monitoring methods are limited in their ability to see through dense vegetation, making it difficult to measure changes in forest structure and carbon storage with precision. To overcome this challenge, the biomass satellite will be equipped with an advanced P-band synthetic aperture radar and a 12-meter deployable antenna, one of the largest ever used in Earth observation. This unique radar system is capable of penetrating thick forest canopies and capturing detailed three-dimensional images of the trees and vegetation below. This technology will allow scientists to gather data not just about the surface, but about the height and density of biomass, providing a far more complete picture of how much carbon is being stored and how it changes over time. The mission will focus primarily on tropical regions across Africa, Asia, and South America, which are home to the densest and most carbon-rich forests on the planet. Over a 5-year span, the satellite will continually monitor these forests to track changes caused by deforestation, reforestation, and natural events like wildfires. This long-term data collection is expected to significantly enhance our understanding of the carbon cycle and improve global climate change models, especially as forest ecosystems respond to both human activity and environmental stressors. One of the most exciting aspects of the biomass mission is its integration with artificial intelligence and machine learning tools. By feeding the satellite's high-resolution data into advanced algorithms, scientists can detect subtle patterns and predict future changes in forest health and carbon storage. This will not only help in verifying global carbon emissions targets, but also guide conservation policies and sustainable land use planning. In essence, this mission represents a powerful new way to keep track of one of Earth's most critical resources, its forests, from space.
One of the most awe-inspiring future events in the cosmos is the predicted collision between the Milky Way and the Andromeda galaxy, set to occur in approximately 4.5 billion years. Both galaxies are massive spiral galaxies, each containing hundreds of billions of stars, and are currently hurtling toward each other at a speed of about 110 kilometers per second, or 68 miles per second. Despite this enormous speed, because of the vast distances in space, they're currently about 2.5 million light-years apart. This galactic encounter will unfold slowly over the course of billions of years. Astronomers believe that rather than a sudden crash, the two galaxies will gradually merge, engaging in a long gravitational dance that reshapes them both. This future collision is not an unexpected event. In fact, it's a natural part of how galaxies evolve. Galaxies often grow by merging with others, and both the Milky Way and Andromeda have already absorbed smaller galaxies in their histories. When the two giants finally meet, their massive gravitational forces will pull and twist one another, disrupting their structures, flinging stars into new orbits, and ultimately creating an entirely new galaxy, often referred to by astronomers as Milkomeda or Milkdromeda. Over time, this new galaxy is expected to settle into a large elliptical shape, quite different from the spiral structures both galaxies have now. One common question is whether this collision will destroy Earth or our solar system. The answer is no, at least not likely. Galaxies are mostly empty space, and stars are so far apart that direct star-to-star collisions are incredibly rare. What will happen, however, is that the gravitational forces during the merger may alter the position of our solar system within the newly formed galaxy. Earth might end up much farther from the galactic center, or closer, but it's unlikely to be ejected entirely or destroyed. However, by the time this cosmic event takes place, the Sun will be nearing the end of its life cycle, expanding into a red giant and possibly making Earth uninhabitable regardless of galactic collisions. Astronomers have been able to predict this future event with increasing accuracy thanks to powerful telescopes like the Hubble Space Telescope and advanced simulations. By observing the motion of stars and gas clouds in both galaxies, scientists have tracked their trajectories and used computer models to simulate their future paths. The impending merger between the Milky Way and Andromeda is a vivid reminder of the dynamic, ever-changing nature of the universe, and though it's far beyond any human timescale, it represents one of the most dramatic events that will ever affect our cosmic neighborhood.
One of the most mind-blowing and oddly entertaining facts about space is the existence of a massive cloud of alcohol floating out in the cosmos, big enough to make an estimated 400 trillion pints of beer. This enormous alcohol cloud is found in a star-forming region known as Sagittarius B2, located about 390 light-years from the center of our Milky Way galaxy, near the Sagittarius constellation. It's a gigantic interstellar cloud composed of various molecules, including a type of alcohol called ethyl alcohol, ethanol, the same kind found in alcoholic beverages. This isn't your average six-pack, though. The alcohol in Sagittarius B2 is spread out across a vast area, about 1,000 times the diameter of our entire solar system, and it's mixed with a cocktail of other complex organic molecules, gases and dust. It's far from drinkable due to the extreme cold, around minus 240 degrees Celsius or minus 400 degrees Fahrenheit, and the fact that it also contains toxic compounds like methanol, formaldehyde, and hydrogen cyanide. Still, the sheer quantity of ethanol present, about 10 billion liters, is a striking demonstration of the complex chemistry that takes place in interstellar space. The discovery of this cloud has profound scientific importance beyond its novelty. It shows that organic molecules, the building blocks of life, can form in the harshest and most remote environments of the universe. These molecules are likely formed on the surfaces of icy dust grains inside cold molecular clouds and then released into the gas phase as the regions are warmed by newly forming stars. Studying these compounds gives astronomers clues about how the ingredients for life could be distributed across the galaxy, and possibly even delivered to forming planets via comets or meteorites. While no one is launching a space brewery anytime soon, the existence of this alcohol cloud is a perfect example of how strange and surprising the universe can be. It blends humor with hard science, making it a fan-favorite fact among space lovers, and beyond the fun headlines, it's a reminder that the cosmos is chemically rich and full of mysteries, some of which may help us better understand not only the formation of stars and planets, but even the origins of life itself.
Many people recognize the Big Dipper as one of the most iconic and easily identifiable patterns in the night sky. But what's often misunderstood is that the Big Dipper isn't actually a constellation. It's an asterism. An asterism is a recognizable pattern of stars that forms part of a larger constellation. In this case, the Big Dipper is an asterism within the much larger constellation Ursa Major, which means Great Bear in Latin. The Big Dipper is made up of 7 bright stars, 4 that form the bowl and 3 that make up the handle. These stars are Dubi, Merak, Phecda, Megrez, Alioth, Mizar and Alkaid. While they appear close together from our vantage point on Earth, they actually lie at varying distances from us, and not all of them are physically related. However, 5 of the stars in the Big Dipper belong to a moving group called the Ursa Major moving group, meaning they travel through space in the same direction and are likely to have formed together from the same stellar nursery. The full constellation of Ursa Major contains many more stars beyond those in the Big Dipper, and it stretches across a larger portion of the sky. In mythology, Ursa Major is often depicted as a bear, with the Big Dipper forming its hindquarters and tail. The constellation has deep roots in many cultures around the world and has inspired legends among the Greeks, Native Americans, Chinese and many others. The Big Dipper is also astronomically useful. Its 2 outermost stars, Dubhe and Merak, are often called the pointer stars because they form a line that points directly to Polaris, the North Star, which lies in the nearby constellation Ursa Minor. This makes the Big Dipper a valuable tool for navigation in the Northern Hemisphere. Though it's not a constellation in its own right, the Big Dipper remains one of the most well-known star patterns in the world, both a cultural icon and a practical guidepost in the sky.
One of the most fascinating geological features in our solar system is found on Io, one of Jupiter's largest moons, a volcano that is constantly erupting. In fact, Io isn't just home to a single active volcano, it is the most volcanically active body in the entire solar system, with hundreds of volcanoes, many of which erupt frequently, and some almost constantly. Among the most prominent of these is Loki Patera, a massive volcanic depression that behaves like a lava lake and undergoes regular outbursts. Io's incredible volcanic activity is due to an intense process called tidal heating. As Io orbits Jupiter, it's caught in a gravitational tug-of-war between the massive planet and its neighbouring moons, Europa and Ganymede. This constant gravitational squeezing stretches and flexes Io's interior, generating tremendous heat through friction. This heat melts rock into magma, fueling continuous volcanic activity. The result is a surface that is constantly changing, covered in fresh lava flows, sulfuric deposits, and volcanic pits. The volcanoes on Io are unlike anything on Earth. Some of them erupt with plumes of gas and molten rock that can shoot hundreds of kilometers into space, towering far above the moon's surface. The materials ejected during these eruptions, mostly sulfur and sulfur dioxide, give Io its bizarre, colorful appearance, with areas shaded in yellow, red, white, and even green. NASA's Galileo spacecraft and the Voyager missions first captured these eruptions, and later telescopes and observations from spacecraft like Juno have continued to monitor the moon's fiery surface. Despite its distance from Earth and its extreme environment, Io has become a key object of study for planetary scientists. It offers a look at how tidal forces can dramatically shape a celestial body, and it helps researchers understand how similar processes might work on exoplanets or early planetary bodies in our own solar system. With its relentless volcanic fury and dynamic landscape, Io stands as one of the most alien yet active worlds we've discovered, proof that even far from the Sun, planetary bodies can be surprisingly alive.
One of the most surprising facts about pineapples is just how long they take to grow, typically around 2 years from planting to harvest. Unlike many fruits that develop quickly each season, pineapples are slow-growing tropical plants that require patience and consistent care. The process starts with planting the crown, the spiky top of the fruit, which then develops into a rosette of long, sword-like leaves. Over the next year or so, the plant gradually matures until it finally produces a single flower stalk from its center, which eventually forms the pineapple fruit. The flower itself is actually a cluster of up to 200 individual flowers, each producing a tiny fruit. These mini-fruits fuse together to create the familiar pineapple we know. Once the fruit starts forming, it still takes several more months to ripen fully. This slow process is part of why pineapples are more expensive and considered a special treat in many parts of the world. And after all that effort, each pineapple plant produces only one fruit at a time, though it may produce a few more from side shoots later. Pineapples thrive in warm, sunny climates and are commonly grown in countries like Costa Rica, the Philippines, Thailand, and Hawaii. Pineapples need well-drained soil and regular watering, but too much water can lead to root rot. Because they're not grown from seeds and take so long to mature, pineapple farming requires careful long-term planning and space. This long growth cycle also adds to their symbolic meaning in many cultures. Pineapples have traditionally represented hospitality, wealth, and patience. And given how long they take to grow, that symbolism makes a lot of sense. So the next time you enjoy a slice of pineapple, it's worth remembering the 2 years of sunshine, water, and time it took to get to your plate.
It might sound strange today, but in the 1830s, ketchup was actually sold as medicine in the United States. Unlike the tomato-based condiment we know and love today, early ketchup recipes were quite different and evolved over time. From fermented fish sauces in ancient Asia to mushroom ketchups in 18th century Europe. But it was American physician Dr. John Cook Bennett who popularized the idea of using tomato-based ketchup for its supposed medicinal properties. Dr. Bennett claimed that tomatoes could treat a wide range of ailments, including diarrhea, indigestion, jaundice, and rheumatism. He published articles promoting the health benefits of tomatoes, helping to shift public perception at a time when many believed tomatoes were actually poisonous due to their relation to the deadly nightshade plant. Bennett eventually collaborated with manufacturers to produce tomato pills, which were essentially condensed forms of ketchup marketed as a cure-all remedy. This marketing strategy caught on quickly, and various entrepreneurs jumped on the bandwagon, selling ketchup-based pills and syrups as over-the-counter medicine. However, the trend didn't last long. By the late 1840s, medical professionals began to debunk these health claims, and ketchup's status as a medicine faded. It wasn't until later in the 19th century that ketchup transformed into the sweet and tangy condiment we recognize today, thanks to companies like Heinz, which introduced mass production and added sugar and vinegar to improve flavor and shelf life. The idea of ketchup as medicine is a quirky chapter in the history of both food and medicine, reflecting how much science and consumer understanding has evolved. It also highlights the role of marketing in shaping public beliefs, even when the product in question is something as unexpected as a burger topping.
One of the simple yet fascinating facts about apples is that they float in water, a quality that's made them a staple in party games like bobbing for apples. But the reason behind this fun fact is grounded in science. About 25% of an apple's volume is made up of air. This high air content reduces the fruit's overall density, making it less dense than water, which causes it to float. Apples have a spongy, porous structure, especially in the flesh just beneath the skin. This structure includes numerous tiny air pockets that are invisible to the naked eye, but make a big difference when it comes to buoyancy. When you drop an apple into water, these trapped air pockets act like tiny flotation devices, helping the apple remain on the surface instead of sinking. This air content doesn't just affect whether an apple floats, it also plays a role in texture and crunchiness. Apples with more air tend to feel crisper and lighter when you bite into them. As apples age, they begin to lose moisture and air, which is why they can become mealy or soft over time. So, in a way, an apple's ability to float can even give you a little clue about its freshness. Beyond party tricks and texture, the air in apples has a practical impact in agriculture and food processing too. It helps with storage and shipping, since apples with good structure are less likely to bruise or be damaged. And for cider makers and food scientists, understanding the apple's cellular makeup, including its air content, is essential for quality control. So next time you see an apple bobbing in a tub of water, you're really seeing a clever combination of nature and physics at work.
Most people think of carrots as bright orange, but what many don't know is that carrots were originally purple, along with red, yellow, and even white varieties. The earliest domesticated carrots, believed to have originated around 3,000 years ago in Central Asia, especially in regions of modern-day Iran and Afghanistan, were often deep purple or yellow. These ancient varieties were cultivated more for their medicinal properties and seeds than as a common food crop. The purple pigment in these early carrots came from anthocyanins, a group of powerful antioxidants found in many deeply coloured fruits and vegetables. These early carrots were sometimes more bitter and fibrous compared to the modern orange versions we're familiar with today. Over time, as carrots were cultivated across different regions and climates, farmers began selecting for different traits, such as sweeter taste, smoother texture, and a more appealing appearance. The orange carrot, as we know it today, is believed to have been developed in the 17th century in the Netherlands. Dutch growers, possibly as a tribute to the House of Orange, the ruling royal family, selectively bred yellow and white carrot varieties to produce the bright orange root. These new orange carrots were not only more aesthetically appealing, but also contained higher levels of beta-carotene, a compound the body converts into vitamin A, which is essential for vision and immune function. Today, purple carrots are making a comeback as a nutritional superfood, thanks to their high levels of anthocyanins and novelty appeal. You can now find a rainbow of carrots in stores and farmers markets, including purple, red, yellow and white, as chefs and consumers rediscover the diverse history of this humble root vegetable. So while orange carrots may dominate supermarket shelves, their vibrant ancestors continue to remind us of the rich and colourful story behind one of the world's most beloved vegetables.
Avocados are often called green gold for their rich flavour, creamy texture and booming popularity. But did you know that a single avocado tree can produce up to 500 avocados a year? That's a remarkable yield, especially considering that many trees average around 150 to 200 fruits annually, depending on their age, variety and growing conditions. With the right care, mature trees, especially those grown in optimal climates, can reach that impressive 500 fruit benchmark. Avocado trees, particularly the Hass variety, are known for their alternating fruiting cycles, also called biennial bearing or alternate bearing. This means they may produce a large crop one year, followed by a smaller yield the next. The number of avocados a tree produces is influenced by factors such as sunlight, water, soil health, pruning practices, and even pollination. Since avocados have a somewhat unusual flowering system with male and female phases that occur at different times of day, growers often plant multiple varieties together to boost cross-pollination and fruit production. It's also worth noting that avocado trees take several years to mature and bear fruit. If grown from seed, they can take up to 10 years to produce. But those propagated from grafted trees, common in commercial orchards, typically bear fruit in 3 to 5 years. Once they mature, though, they can produce fruit for decades, some even over 50 years, with the right climate and care. Regions with warm temperatures and well-drained soil, like parts of California, Mexico, Peru, and Israel, are ideal for large-scale avocado farming. With demand for avocados continuing to grow worldwide due to their health benefits, rich in healthy fats, fiber, and vitamins, the productivity of avocado trees has become increasingly important. One well-cared-for tree with a 500 avocado yield can be a powerhouse of nutrition and economic value, making avocados not just delicious, but also a fascinating example of how a single tree can offer bountiful and sustainable harvests year after year.
The iconic pink colour of bubblegum wasn't a carefully thought-out branding decision. It happened completely by accident. When Walter Diemer, an accountant for the Fleer Chewing Gum Company, invented the first successful bubblegum in 1928, he only had pink dye available in the lab. So he used what he had, and the rest is sticky, sugary history. That first batch of bubblegum became a hit, and ever since then, pink has been associated with bubblegum, setting a standard that continues to this day. Before Diemer's discovery, many had tried to create a gum recipe that was stretchy enough to blow bubbles without being too sticky, but most failed. Diemer experimented during his off hours and finally hit upon the perfect formula that was both less sticky and more elastic, allowing people to blow bubbles with ease. His creation was marketed as Double Bubble, and it quickly became a sensation, thanks in part to its fun, eye-catching pink hue. The reason only pink dye was available at the time likely comes down to cost and availability. In the 1920s, pink colouring was one of the most common and inexpensive food dyes, and it just happened to be on hand when Diemer made his breakthrough. The unexpected success of that first batch meant there was no reason to change the colour. People now associated bubblegum with pink, and companies leaned into the trend. Today, although bubblegum comes in a wide variety of colours and flavours, the classic pink bubblegum still reigns supreme in terms of nostalgia and tradition. From Diemer's accidental colour choice grew an entire genre of candy branding, and pink remains a visual cue that instantly evokes the fun and light-hearted experience of chewing gum and blowing bubbles. It's a great example of how a happy accident can turn into a lasting cultural icon.
One of the most beloved frozen treats in the world, the Popsicle, was actually invented by accident by an 11-year-old boy named Frank Epperson in 1905. Living in Oakland, California, young Frank was experimenting with powdered soda mix and water, something many kids loved at the time. He stirred the mixture with a wooden stick, but then left it outside overnight, forgetting it on the porch. That night, temperatures dropped below freezing, and by morning, Frank discovered that the mixture had frozen solid, with the stick still inside. Excited by his accidental creation, Frank began making more of them, and initially called them Epsicles, a blend of his last name and icicle. His friends and family loved them, and as he grew older, he continued to make and sell them at events and amusement parks. Eventually, Frank's children encouraged him to change the name to something catchier and more fun, which is how Popsicle came to be, a playful nod to Pop's icicle. In 1923, Epperson officially patented his invention and began mass-producing popsicles through a partnership with the Joe Low Company in New York. The treat quickly caught on across the country, especially during the hot summer months and the Great Depression, when inexpensive snacks like popsicles were in high demand. Originally sold in just a few flavors, the Popsicle brand eventually expanded to dozens of varieties and became a staple of childhood joy. Today, the Popsicle is a symbol of summertime and nostalgia, but its origins are a great reminder of how creativity, curiosity, and a little bit of luck can lead to something timeless. From a forgotten soda mix to a global treat, Frank Epperson's story shows that even childhood accidents can make a big mark on the world. Sometimes all it takes is a cold night and a wooden stick.
Despite their name, peanuts are not actually nuts. They're legumes, a category of plants that includes beans, lentils, and peas. This common misconception arises because peanuts look and taste like true nuts, such as almonds, walnuts, and cashews, and they're often grouped with them in culinary use. But botanically speaking, the peanut plant belongs to the Fabaceae family, which is the same family as beans and peas. One of the key differences lies in how peanuts grow. Unlike tree nuts, which grow on trees, peanuts grow underground. After the peanut plant flowers, the fertilized flower stalk bends down and pushes into the soil, where the peanut pod matures beneath the surface. This is a signature trait of legumes, which typically produce their seeds in pods. True nuts, like acorns or chestnuts, develop from a single ovary and don't split open to release their seed, while peanut pods do split open and contain multiple seeds. Peanuts also share other characteristics with legumes. They are high in protein, enrich the soil with nitrogen through a symbiotic relationship with bacteria, and are a key part of crop rotation in sustainable farming. Their nutritional profile, rich in healthy fats, fiber, and protein, makes them similar to tree nuts in terms of health benefits, which contributes to the confusion. Understanding that peanuts are legumes isn't just trivia, it has practical implications, especially for people with food allergies. Some individuals allergic to peanuts can safely eat tree nuts, while others might be allergic to both, so distinguishing between them is important. Still, in the kitchen and in snack aisles, peanuts continue to be treated like nuts due to their flavor, texture, and versatility, making them one of the most misunderstood members of the plant kingdom.
Broccoli, despite its natural appearance, is actually a man-made vegetable that was carefully cultivated through selective breeding. It was developed from wild cabbage, a plant species native to the Mediterranean region. Ancient farmers in Italy began manipulating the plant over 2,000 years ago, choosing specific traits over generations to create a new vegetable with large flowering heads and thick stalks, the broccoli we know today. Wild cabbage is an incredibly versatile plant, and through selective breeding it has given rise to a variety of other common vegetables, including kale, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, cabbage, and kohlrabi. The differences among these vegetables come from focusing on different parts of the plant. For example, cabbage was bred for its leaves, Brussels sprouts for its buds, and broccoli for its flowering head and stem. The name broccoli comes from the Italian word broccolo, meaning the flowering crest of a cabbage. Broccoli didn't gain widespread popularity outside of Italy until much later. It was introduced to the United States by Italian immigrants in the 19th and early 20th centuries, and it took time to catch on in American kitchens. However, once its nutritional benefits, including high levels of vitamin C, fiber, calcium, and powerful antioxidants like sulforaphane, became widely recognized, broccoli became a staple in healthy diets around the world. Today, broccoli is celebrated not only for its health benefits, but also as a testament to human ingenuity in agriculture. It's a great example of how humans have shaped the food we eat through careful observation, selection, and cultivation. So while it may look like just another green vegetable, broccoli carries with it a long history of farming innovation and botanical transformation.
The tradition of carving jack-o'-lanterns has its roots in ancient Celtic folklore, specifically during the festival of Samhain, which marked the end of the harvest season and the beginning of winter. People believed that on the night of Samhain, spirits and fairies could cross into the human world, and to protect themselves, they carved scary faces into turnips or other root vegetables, and placed them in windows or doorways to frighten away any wandering evil spirits. These eerie carvings were often illuminated with glowing coals or candles, creating a ghostly effect. The association of the jack-o'-lantern with turnips is also linked to the old Irish legend of Stingy Jack, a man who was so cunning and deceitful that he tricked the devil multiple times. When Jack died, he was denied entry to both heaven and hell, and was doomed to wander the earth with only a burning coal placed inside a carved-out turnip to light his way. People began carving their own Jack's lanterns to ward off his spirit, and the practice became a staple of Halloween traditions in Ireland and Scotland. When Irish immigrants brought their customs to North America in the 19th century, they found that pumpkins, native to the continent, were far more abundant and easier to hollow out than the tough and fibrous turnips. Pumpkins quickly replaced turnips in the Halloween tradition and gave rise to the jack-o'-lanterns we know and love today. Often carved with expressive or scary faces and displayed with a candle inside during the Halloween season. The size, shape and vibrant color of pumpkins made them perfect for this festive purpose. While pumpkins are now the universal symbol of Halloween, the history of the jack-o'-lantern is deeply rooted in the cultural use of turnips as protective charms. It's a fascinating example of how traditions evolve and adapt over time and geography. Turnips may no longer sit in our windows in October, but they hold a special place in the eerie, inventive history of Halloween and remind us that even the simplest vegetables can be part of something magical.
Thanks for watching. We hope you enjoyed these incredible facts. If you found them fascinating, there's so much more to discover. Stay tuned for our next video, where we uncover even more mind-blowing facts about the world around you. You won't believe what's next.